There were some like issues, like one girl got locked in the shower one night. Good afternoon from Malta. It is day 10, the final day here on the Sicily and Malta getaway trip with EF Ultimate Break. It's so sad to be the last day. Unfortunately, everyone is flying home today. There are no scheduled activities. You will just take your flight home back to the US today, whether that's through a flight that EF Ultimate Break booked or you booked your own flight. For the EF flights that people booked today, the transfers were anywhere from like 3 in the morning to I think the final one was 9:45. So people leaving at all different times this morning. So sad to say goodbye to them. Lucky for me, I booked my own flights and I decided to stay here in Malta a few extra days. So lucky me. So since there's nothing to do today and I'm not flying home, I have a bunch of notes on this trip. I'm going to go over my honest thoughts, my full review, and everything so you can decide if this trip is right for you. And just a reminder that I do have 3 videos before this if you want to go day by day and go along with me on this trip. So first, just to give you some overview on the trip that I went on the very first run of this trip. It happened at the very end of April, early May of 2025. I'm sitting here on May 9th. It was the first essential run of this trip. So the essential trips are basically the cheaper trips that you can take. You're staying in like cheaper accommodations like hostels and stuff. So if you want to save some money and don't mind sharing a room with more people, you don't necessarily want to share a room with like one friend that you're traveling with or a partner or anything that you're coming on the trip with, essential trips are great, much cheaper than the plus trips. You are staying in hostels for the most part, which I love hostels. I think they're a great way to meet people. They're fun. They usually have like bars and pools and stuff like that. They're definitely not right for everyone, but I love them. The other type of trip that you'll find like for the Sicily and Malta getaway is a plus trip, and that's where you have 2 people for a room and you're staying in nicer hotels. That comes with an extra cost, so it's kind of up to you to decide if you want to spend more money for nicer accommodations or save some money, stay in a cheaper place, have more roommates, stuff like that. So for my essential run of the trip, we spent 2 nights in Palermo. We stayed at the Castello Bello Palermo. It was a hostel. We had 4 to 6 people per room in dorms, like bunk beds and stuff. I thought it was nice. It had a pool. It had a bar that was open late. It had like a live DJ every night and stuff like that. There was karaoke one night. Super fun, and great location too. I actually stayed there a few nights early before the trip started, so I was there for a total of 4 nights, and I thought it was great. Very walkable within Palermo. It's close to a lot of great restaurants, shopping, drinks, stuff like that. I enjoyed it. If you want to sleep well, it definitely got a little loud late at night until about like 1 or 2 in the morning, so it's not great if you need your sleep, but it was very fun and great location. So after that, we went to Lettoiani, which is just north of Taormina. We stayed at the Hotel Antares for 3 nights. And there we had 2 to 3 people per room. So that was kind of a good break in the middle of the trip from like the hostel vibe. It was great. It was a great location. It's kind of confusing, but it's like on a hill. You take an elevator down to the town. It makes sense when you see it, but it was in a great location, very walkable. You could be within like all the good restaurants and like the plaza in town within about 15 minutes. So it is a little bit of walking to go back and forth into town, but good spot. And then for the last 3 nights, we stayed at the Follow the Sun Boutique Hostel in St. Julian here in Malta. This one, I thought it was like a pretty nice hostel compared to like I've stayed in a lot of hostels all over the world, and I thought it was relatively nice. There were some like issues, like one girl got locked in the shower one night. My tour director's window, she was on the ground floor and it could like be open from the outside, so that was like a huge safety issue. And then a lamp fell on another girl's head, like from the ceiling. She was just like showering or like coming out of the shower or something, and the lamp fell on her head. So she had a headache the last night, which really sucked. But I thought overall that was in a good spot too. It was like walkable to all the clubs and stuff. So other than like those few issues, I thought it was okay. So overall, good accommodations for this trip, at least on the essential trip. I don't know, you may be staying in different places, especially in Malta, but yeah, good spots. So next I want to talk about the excursions. There were 3 optional excursions that you could book through EF on this trip. Our tour director did not offer any optional trips. If you've been on EF trips before, you know that sometimes the tour director will opt for like optional things that you could do for an extra cost. We didn't have any offered on this trip, but that's okay because we were very busy, and the 3 optional excursions that EF offered were plenty. So the first one was in Palermo. It was the Sicilian farm visit, wine tasting, and picnic. For my run of the trip, it cost $70. It was by far my favorite excursion. I loved it. The farm was beautiful. There's like animals. We got there right as the sun was setting over the vineyard. It was like perfect. And the wine was really good. Definitely my favorite wine tasting of the trip. The only thing with that one is that it's a picnic and we were told to like not eat before, and they were like, go hungry, go hungry. And then it ended up being more of like a charcuterie situation. So everyone was pretty hungry after, so we had to go get pizzas. Just one thing to note for that, just eat before. But very good excursion. The second one was in Taormina. It was the Mount Etna volcanoes and wine tasting. This one I was a little iffy on. It cost $100. It takes a while to get up to Mount Etna. Like, it's a volcano. You're going up those like crazy windy roads. So if you get car sick or motion sick or anything, you need to bring like Dramamine or something. I sat in the front of the bus on the way up and I just fell asleep, thankfully. So you're only up there for 50 minutes once you get up there to explore. There's not much to do. Like, it's just the top of a volcano. You can go walk around a little bit. You could try lava water, which is like their alcohol. It was fine. There's also like a honey stand. You could get some food. Like, not much to do once you get up there. And then you head back down the volcano and you go do a wine tasting and like a very short tour of this winery. Personally, I liked the wine in Palermo better. Like, I was really hit or miss on this excursion. I was glad I did it to like see the volcano and say that I went to the volcano, but if you're like iffy on it, I'm not quite sure it's worth it. And if you could find something to do in like Taormina or Letojanni for the day, that might be better. And then the final one, which was very fun, was the lagoon cruise and snorkel in Malta. You are spending the entire day on a boat. You get picked up by bus. You head to Valletta to like the harbor where you board this boat. They take you to Camino, which is like the famous blue swimming spot here in Malta. They feed you on board. There's unlimited soft drinks, beer, wine. So we were feeling pretty good. You have time, like, I think it's like an hour and a half or 2 hours. Once you dock there, you have to go explore. You can go to the little beach. The boat people offered like an optional 15 euro speedboat excursion. You go like into a cave and you're like going on the speedboat. Everyone said it was fun. And then after that, you go to another spot to go swim just outside of Gozo. You like anchor off the shore and you can jump in and stuff. Super fun excursion. Definitely would recommend that one. So all the excursions all together were $280. I definitely recommend the Sicilian farm visit and the lagoon cruise. Mount Etna, but I mean, you kind of have to do it just because you're here in Sicily. So that cost me $280 to do all the optional excursions. And speaking of money, now I will break down all the money that I spent on this trip on my food, wine, stuff like that. So over the last 10 days, or like 8 days, if you take away the travel day, I checked all of my spending on food, tips, alcohol, souvenirs, everything, just to give you an idea of what you might spend on this trip. Just to note, when I give you numbers, I drink a lot. I drink at every single meal. We would stop for drinks here and there. If you don't drink, you will spend significantly less than what I'm about to tell you. So for my food and meals, which is like sit down dinners and lunches, including my alcohol, I spent for the last 8 days 237 euro. That includes like food, like pizza, pasta. I got rabbit one day here in Malta, and usually like a Aperol spritz or a glass of wine. So 237 euro, which is the equivalent right now of 267 US dollars on alcohol alone, which is just like if we stopped into a bar or something, or like we were sitting by the pool and I ordered like an Aperol spritz or something. I spent 36 euro, which is like 40 US dollars. I'm not a big souvenir person. I bought 2 magnets and a couple little jars of honey. So super not a big spender here. I spent 12 euro. So 10 of that was on honey and then 2 euro on magnets, which is like 14 US dollars. On non-alcoholic drinks, which is like water, soda, orange juice, coffee, outside of meals, I spent 17 euro, which is 20 US dollars. I took a couple taxis and boat rides. That was 22 euros or 25 US dollars. And then on tips, which included my tour director tip, which is a majority of this, and then like a few euros here and there for like walking tour guides and stuff, I spent 90 euro, which is about $100. So overall, before tip, I spent 324 euro or 367 US dollars. If you include the tip, I spent 414 euro or 467 US dollars. And that's excluding like the extra optional excursions and all the money that I paid to EF for the tour. It also doesn't include my flights because I booked those separate and a long time ago. So that was how much I spent for 8 days here. So if you budget, like, I think if you want it to include tip in your budget, which you should, tour directors are amazing. They deserve to be tipped at the end of the tour. I think like $50 to $70 per day is a good budget, and then you could figure out if you like do a lot of souvenir shopping or anything. Like there's a lot of like leather purses in Italy that are good souvenirs, or like jewelry. Add more to that. If you don't drink, you could probably cut a good $150 off of that budget. So that's how much I spent. And now I just want to talk about my overall thoughts, reviews, pros and cons of the trip. So I rate all of my trips out of 5. My favorite trip, Costa Rica, I gave a 5 out of 5. My least favorite trip, which I had a lot of issues with, I gave a 2 out of 5, just to give you some reference there. And just to note, again, this was the very first run of this trip. It is only going to get better. I know that. Our tour director took so much notes. She has so much feedback to give EF. And they even sent an EF representative on this trip to just see how the vibes were, how the flow was, how the schedule was. So I think they are going to make some adjustments here just to make this better based on our feedback, based on what they saw during the trip. So overall, I'm giving this trip a 4 out of 5. I really did enjoy it. I had a great last 8 days. I think it's a very chill trip. Very it's not very go. You are busy all the time. You're constantly exploring a new town. You have free time to do something. You're doing one of the excursions, or you're traveling between the towns. So you don't have a ton of down chill time, but at the same time it is chill, if you get what I'm trying to say there. When you have a full day in Taormina, you have 4 hours free to do whatever you want. If you want to go lay on the beach, you can. If you want to go shop for 4 hours, you can. If you want to go sit at a cafe, like I did a lot of the times, you can. Whatever you want to do. So a lot of chill time, not a lot of downtime, if that makes sense. It's a great trip if you like beaches. Every single town we went in Sicily, and then even here in Malta, lots of time for beaches. The beaches are beautiful. I'm not a huge beach person, so I would kind of go walk the beaches and then go explore the towns and stuff. But if you like to lay on the beach, go in the water and stuff, it's a great trip for that. The water is cold in early May, but if you can get through the cold and just go in and go for it, you can go in the water. I can only assume in August and September it's going to be better. It is hot this time of year, so if you're going in the summer, June, July, August, it's going to be very hot and very busy because that's when all the European tourists are traveling as well. It was pretty, it wasn't super crowded this time of year, which I enjoyed. But yeah, so overall, I think it was a good trip. A lot of free time. If you like to book a trip where they're giving you a full day of here's what we're doing, here's when we're doing it, this is not a good trip for you. If you want a good mix of they're giving you a schedule, they're giving you some activities, but then you also have a decent amount of free time to explore these places, this is a perfect trip. A few cons I had with the trip. I think there's some scheduling issues, which like I said, will get better once the tour once they run the tour a couple times and get our feedback. For example, in Taormina, if you watched that video, you knew that we did a Sicilian cooking class, which included unlimited free wine. And then we had to go on a tour of Taormina. Those should have been flipped. We should not have unlimited wine and then go on a tour of a Greek theater. So stuff like that, where I'm hoping that they're going to fix it. I think it is very expensive for 8 nights for what they include. When I booked the trip, there was a $1,000 off sale as part of one of the sales. EF is always running sales. So I saved $1,000 during the sale. And then I also have, since I've gone on so many trips before, I have a $300 repeat discount. So I saved $1,300 on this trip. So based on what I paid, I think it was great. A lot was included, stuff like that. I was happy with it. But if you're paying full price, like what they have on their website, no sales, no discount codes or anything, I think it's a little pricey, especially the essential tour where you're staying in hostels and stuff. That being said, I do think this is a trip that I could have done on my own. I did have a great time with the group. The group was good. We had 21 people, ages 18 to 35, so the full range. It was a good group. It was fun. It was nice to hang out with people and have my free time with them and have somebody to go do stuff with. I think I could have done this trip on my own. If you want to go with some friends, you could totally plan it to these 3 cities. Take the ferry, take a bus, take a train between them on your own. Save some money there. But if you want everything planned for you, it's a good trip. So those are my thoughts. 4 out of 5. Hopefully this video helps you decide if you want to go on the tour or not. I do recommend it. You just got to decide if you want that free, chill, beach time, or if you're looking for something a little more structured, maybe this isn't the trip for you. Even though it is a great region to travel, I loved Sicily. The food there was so good. Malta, as you can see here, beautiful. Yeah, I love these 2 places. Fun trip. But yeah, that's just my honest feedback. So you can decide if this trip is right for you. And if you want even more, make sure you go check out my last 3 videos. Now I am going to go enjoy my final 3 days here in Malta. I'm here in Marsaxhach. If you want to see what I get up to here, check out next week's video. And thanks for watching. If you like this video, please comment and subscribe. And I will see you next week for more of Malta. Bye. Alrighty, quick add on here. It has been a few days since I filmed that review. I have spent the last couple days exploring more of Malta, and I just wanted to add on that I think I've like realized kind of more of the reason why I'm giving this trip a 4 out of a 5, and I was like slightly disappointed by the end. I think that the Malta part of this trip is lacking. So, the boat day, the optional lagoon cruise, super fun, loved that. However, like we got to Malta so late on day 7. Our ferry was supposed to arrive like in Valletta at 8:45 p.m. By the time it like actually arrived, and then we got all of our luggage, got on the bus, got to the hotel, it was like almost 10 o'clock. So, and like nothing was open. It was like too late to do anything. I think that if we could get into Malta earlier on day 7, that would be a huge improvement. And then the tours of like Medina and Valletta on day 8 were super rushed, but still felt like really long because they tried to like jam 2 cities into like one tour. So I'm here in Marsaxok, beautiful little town. This would be like a great stop on the in the afternoon of day 8 for like some lunch and shopping. Like you could see the whole like market down there, so cute. Also today I went to Al Jarim, which is these like old temples here on the southern coast of Malta. They're literally older than the pyramids in Egypt, so very cool to see. And I when I say the southern coast, it sounds like it'd be far, but you can get across Malta in 30 minutes, so it wouldn't be like that far for EF to go. Definitely something that they could have added. So I just wanted to add that in. I feel like the Malta part is lacking. Like day 9, the optional excursion on the lagoon cruise, so cool. Day 8 needs some work. And if they could get in earlier on day 7 too, that would be great. I just wanted to add that in there as part of why I rated this tour like only a 4 out of 5, because I feel like I didn't articulate that well, and I've slowly like processed a little more, and I think I can like say that the Malta part was a big part of that. However, like I said, this was the first run of the tour. We gave them a lot of feedback, my group. I think it's going to improve. So fingers crossed for that. If you're going like in 2026 or something, I think by then it's going to be amazing. 2025 might still be working through some kinks this summer, but yeah, I just wanted to add that on. The Sicily part of this trip was incredible. Malta needs some work. That is all. Giving them the benefit of the doubt because I think it's going to get better. That's why I gave it a 4 out of 5. Yeah. Okay. Now, goodbye.